of the entirety of the community of Overwatch seems to be.
Let me go turn my fan on
at this point. I have notes in front of me, so if you see me looking down, it is because I'm trying to be organized without literally reading a script. I mean, there is no script here. It may look like a script, but there is no script. It is just my bullet points trying to help me keep my thoughts organized. The allegations that I'm aware of at this point are that I neglect my children, I'm anti-LGBTQ.
Oh, I didn't say any of this, by the
way. Apparently, I'm still considered to be a member of the KKK.
This is not about me.
Unemployed. I groomed my wife, which is insane to say out loud. Applies reaction, which obviously was a lot of what sparked this whole chaotic mess. And not that that's his.
Was that me? Did I spark the chaotic mess? I thought that he was already a pretty big, like, meme on TikTok and Twitter. Was it me? I feel like I might have been, like, the straw that broke the camel's back, but I don't think I did. He was already a meme before me.
Fault, just to be clear, and then I am going to share an adjustment to my goals in general at the end of the video. There will be chapters, so if there's a specific question that you want to go look at the answer to, you don't care about anything else, totally fine. Skip to that one. It's okay. I'm going to throw this disclaimer out there, though, before I say anything about any of the allegations. My request to you is very clear. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Do not be disrespectful to me or anybody else in my comment section. It takes me or one of my moderators 2 seconds to hide your account. Please don't make us do that. You are welcome to leave criticism in the comments. You are even welcome to be critical.
Okay, here's my criticism. Sleep Token is a terrible artist.
What will be blocked is people who are clearly rage baiting and people who are clearly just there to be toxic and not helpful.
I think my video was pretty good. I mean, I genuinely was giving them feedback. Yeah, I do VOD reviews. What I do, I'm meaner to you guys more than him sometimes.
So first, let's talk about this whole I neglect my children thing based on a very, very, very deeply out of context clip, as is you'll find a theme as we continue. Basically, what was going on there is my kid was crying.
Okay, but this is pretty funny. Here's my take on this. I do think that Gamin4Hope is a little unaware of the internet, but it is a crazy accusation to make, though. Like, if I had kids and someone was like, you're abusing your kid, I'd be like, damn, that's fucked up. But, like, I don't think anyone really thinks this is a funny video. Like, this is genuinely a hilarious video. Like, clearly his kid's fine, bro. Like, he's screaming and his kid's crying. It's a funny video.
Son Cassian was crying in the background. My stream is actually in our bedroom. And he's 6 months old, so he has a bassinet that's next to our bed. So he was being put down for bed about that.
He's being put down?
And my wife was with him, so he was not being neglected. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, so her entire life is built around making our home wonderful and raising our children in a very direct, consistent way while I continue to earn a living and provide for the family. That's not everybody's way of doing things. By the way, I don't care. That's fine. If something else works better for you and your family, that's great. But for us, her being a stay-at-home mom and homemaker has been a huge blessing, not only for my children, but for me when I come home from work. It is a very big deal. Kids do cry, in case you didn't know that. Some of
Where's
you
my part?
have ever had children, which is fine. But you do.
Ooh, my part's the longest part. Ooh, I can't wait to get to my part.
Way of communicating.
Well, you gotta wait, chat.
They cry when they need change. They cry when they're hungry. They cry when they're cold. They cry when they're hot. They cry. You get the idea? They cry a lot.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
If you've watched any of my streams for more than just that one clip duration.
How do you even have a KKK member allegation?
Know that, especially during the nights that I'm not in a scrim, which is like literally everyone.
Holy fuck, bro. He has like the infinity stones of allegations, dude. Oh my god. Neglecting my children, anti-LGBT, Nazi, KKK member, unemployed, grooming my wife. Apply.
None of them besides that one, because I was just trialing for a scrim team. I walk away.
Fuck, dude.
When I'm done with the game and my wife needs something, I have a
dude. There should be one for Cowded. By the way, chat, I just want. You know what? I want to go through. I want to just point out that Cowded is the mastermind behind my video. By the way, he gave me the idea for the video. He literally gave me the idea. He said you should VOD review Gamin4Hope. It was his idea. Cowded is. He should get all of the backlash for it. Where was it? Can you please VOD review Gamin4Hope Doom? I'll pay the 100K.
scene specifically so
It
that
was
I can
him.
walk away from my stream and people know that I'm gone for a minute. Because my wife does need my help sometimes. My streams also lie about the middle of them is when my kids go to bed. I usually walk away from here for a minute to go say goodnight to them, tuck them in, and then I come back.
Okay.
The audacity for people to
Thanks,
think
Monkey
that I
Man.
don't care about my children or that I'm neglecting them is astronomical. Let's talk about the LGBTQIA plus community, because I do want to say before I say anything else, I have nothing but kindness and love in my heart for you. Yes, I have my own personal beliefs
I mean, he's just religious, chat. What are you gonna do, bro?
as a Christian, but those beliefs are anchored by the idea that you are to love your neighbor as yourself. And I know that while the Bible calls many of the LGBTQIA plus community identifications sin, that does not mean that I am without fault. I make mistakes constantly.
I just can't wait to get to
And
my
the Bible
part.
has no hierarchy to sin. There is no...
By the way, I'm not making any more VOD reviews on him. I know a lot of people want the part 2. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna make different content. I don't want my whole fucking career to be about Gamin4Hope. So, but he talked about me in his video, so I gotta watch it.
The LGBT is the worst, although some Christians...
What? That was a bad time to pause and unpause.
Have you believe that? There's just no factual basis for that. My lying on occasion, little white lie, even just a little, you steal a paperclip from your office, that's still as bad in God's mind, according to the Bible, as anything else that's listed as sin in the Bible. It's all the same to him. At my core, you will never, ever, 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 ever be able to find a place where I am disrespectful towards someone because of their gender identity, sexual orientation, or the like. I can promise you that. I obviously made a video about Venture when they were released into the game, and notice even as I'm talking about Venture now, I still use their preferred pronouns, even though I don't personally align with it, which I said then and I stand by it now. My personal beliefs should never impact the way that I respect and treat other people, period. I want you to know, when I posted that video about Venture, I pissed off Christians that I know personally because I wouldn't outright say that I hate. And I mean this is genuine, because I wouldn't say that I hate the LGBT. I promise you, this is a real thing that happened. I was so neutral on this that I pissed off both sides of the argument. I'm sorry, if that doesn't tell you enough about this, I don't know what will. Just to reiterate, you can live your life the exact way you want. That's a BC, or if you get your news from Twitter, or if you get X, you get what I'm saying, TikTok, whatever. Unfortunately, we are so inundated with media that we get...
Okay, Nazi.
Let's talk about the fact that evidently, according to the internet, who is so wonderfully versed in history, that I am a Nazi, according to them. So, I mean, you're seeing the image on your screen right now. Fair enough that you see that at first glance, but there are two key important
You hate gay
things.
people? Of course not. Dude, my birthday's tomorrow. You think I would be born in Pride Month if I hated gay people, dude?
Number one is the one thing that a simple Google search of what a Nazi salute looks like would have answered for you. I used the wrong hand. If it was an
Oh, of course. Duh. Fuck, dude. Duh.
actual Nazi salute, it would have been my right hand, and your left hand, you would have been shot and killed in the Nazi Germany. So, little history lesson for you there.
That was a lot
But the
about
more
the
important
Nazis.
thing is that was a screenshot from
Look
one
at
of my
Shy.
videos.
I got you
that was
after this game, but I
completely
won't
out of
forget.
context, where I used that motion. You are welcome to go watch it. I have referenced it on my Twitter. You can go check that out. It is a direct link to the timestamp, and then you can go back and look in context. I was discussing the fact that I was kind of using the motion to project the future. It had nothing to do with Nazi Germany. And the fact that so many people bought into that showed the collective IQ of the internet. It was insane. And seriously, if you're offended by the fact that I just called you stupid, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend you, but at the same time, please use your brain. That on its own was really not as big of a thing for me.
Okay, chat, I know about all these allegations, but I have nothing. I know nothing about him being a KKK member. I'm excited for that part.
But then there were a couple of other coincidences.
I don't know what's happening
now
in this
that
one.
kind of tied in with it, and unfortunately started to provide each other validity to a lot of people. This one I kind of understood why people saw it after it was explained to me. My old Patreon tiers used to be starting with the letter K, and there were 3 of them, so people kind of associated KKK.
I feel like Oppenheimer. Actually, dude, this is what you get, counted, literally.
Now, if it was just normal words that started with the letter K, I could understand why people would be reading into way too much. But the word contributor, which was one of the tiers, for instance, starts with the letter C, but I spelled it with a K.
Okay.
The word nobility starts with the letter N, but I added the silent K at the beginning. The word crusader and contributor. I think I already said contributor.
Okay, but okay, I'm not gonna lie. It does look kind of crazy that he used 3 different C words and spelled them with K. That is kind of crazy, though. No, I'm not saying he's in the KKK, but that is. I don't know why we're doing that.
Both of those words start with the letter C, and I used the K. Now, the reason for that is my community is referred to as the kinship, as in a brother and sisterhood.
Yo, we need a community name, chat. I don't know what to call us, dude.
The reason I used the word kinship, by the way, is because
I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was gonna say, never mind.
It's a gender-neutral term. So I used that, went forward with it, and decided I wanted to try and brand around the idea of using the letter K.
The applicants? That's so ass. I don't call you guys the fish tank.
Things consistent. It never even occurred to me that people would read into that to that depth. But unfortunately, the thing that compounded it that I wasn't told until significantly later is that my logo over the top of the shield,
I'm not gonna lie, that looks crazy though. I don't know what logo that is, bro. Bro, mine's a fish.
Was very similar to some KKK iconography.
Bro, what the fuck is that?
Back in the day. A simple history Google search would have taught me that, but it's not something that I ever really would have thought about because, in fairness, I'm not part of the KKK. However, those things combined with the Nazi salute, and people just immediately assumed that I was a white supremacist, that I'm a racist, and I can understand why you would be concerned by the combination of those 3 things, but to jump to those radical conclusions is where I'm kind of like, you guys.
I don't know if it was a radical conclusion. I think they was pretty decent.
So much time on the internet and actually go touch some grass. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, to be clear and to recap so far, I want to be very clear.
I think
I am not a Nazi.
I think the thing is, if it was just this like this coincidence of the Patreon tier names and stuff, and his kin or whatever, and his like logo, but it's combining that with his very strong political beliefs on Twitter and stuff, which kind of align with each other. I'm not saying I know nothing about this guy, but it's not just the coincidences of the Patreon. It's everything combined that make people think this way.
I'm not a member of the KKK. It's so wild that I even have to say this out loud. I do not hate you if you are part of the LGBTQIA+ community. I do not neglect my children. Keeping up with me so far? Let's talk about the job situation. First of all, let's just make it a very TLDR at the beginning.
Okay.
I'm employed. That probably solves it for a lot.
He is?
But for the rest of you that are curious about what happened, I'm going to share the story because I do think it bears relevance, and I believe because I've been so transparent about the situation financially and have asked for help in the recent past, I need to be transparent. Back in November of last year, I did leave the teller job that I referenced in my OWCS roadmap video. I left that job not because we were finally at the goals that I was trying to achieve at the time, which was to have a 6-month emergency fund and our debts completely paid off, but because I had been denied a promotion that I was promised from the beginning for the 4th time in a row, despite having every...
Yeah, you know what I'm really concerned about? I wonder if he thinks that pro Overwatch players get paid. I was talking to Reprise the other day, who was an Overwatch League coach for LA Valiant and Florida Mayhem, and I was talking to him about the video. I think if you do like a good Uber and Lyft like day, like full week, I think Uber drivers probably make almost the same amount of money as like OWCS teams right now, unless you're on a Saudi team.
Metric checked. And then some. My manager...
But even if he does go pro, you're still going to struggle to take care of your kids. Like, yeah, go play Valorant.
Continued to move...
Yeah, a lot of ODCS players get $2K a month. That's
goalpost and say...
Not enough to take care of a wife and 2 kids.
Do this now. Well, you need to do this now. Well, you need to do this now. I needed the raise that came with that to continue...
Nah, our players got paid money. Overwatch League was different.
To support my family at a high level. I realized...
Some Korean teams get paid more, yeah.
Better money than even the promotion running rideshare. So that's exactly what I did. So I was gainfully employed from the moment I left the teller job, just to be super clear.
That 6-year-old in the fucking coal mines, baby.
And then life happened. December 30th, I believe, I got into the car accident with the vehicle that I was using primarily to do the rideshare stuff. It totaled the vehicle. And because I had only been doing it for about a month, I couldn't go get a new auto loan. So I'm like, well, crud, now I'm in a pickle. We have one car. We are about to have, as a matter of fact, we had already had my third child.
I can't with the timestamps, dude. Anti-LGBT, neglecting my children, Nazi, KKK member, unemployed, grooming my wife, apply.
And
Why am I the grand finals?
We had 2 sedans. We were 2 cars everywhere we went. And now we're down to 1 car that can't fit all of our family, so now I'm in a pickle. I start driving that car around for rideshare, and then it throws a check engine light that was critical. You cannot drive it. It was a flashing check engine light. So I pulled it over, and we took it to the shop, and I couldn't drive it anymore. So now what do I do? In essence,
thank you for coming for the 15 months.
so we still had some funds in emergency, and I'm like, you know what? The content seems to be picking up a little bit. What if I just hit the gas pedal a little bit?
Well, we have to start having a talk. Is bro a genius? Because he's more popular streamer than most people right now. He's low-key taking care of his family off these YouTube videos.
But so I talked to my wonderful bride and was like, look, if you want me to go get another
Nah,
job
I'm not
right
doing any
now,
more VOD reviews for this guy. I'm just watching his video because he talked about me, and then we're moving on.
go do it. Not hesitating one time. However, if you're cool with me taking a little bit of a risk for the next couple months, I'd like to. And she was completely okay with it. And by the way, that's how marriage works. Communication. If she had said, I'm not cool with it, at the end of the day, again, for me as a Christian, I'm going to die to myself and what I want to do in order to serve and love my wife. That is what I'm called to do as a Christian dude. Period. End of story. Well, because our emergency fund had dried up after that little stint of doing my best to gear everything up, and I didn't have any real revenue coming in that was allowing me to support my family, even at the low level of our bills at the time, it was time for me to get a job. So I did. Didn't hesitate. As soon as the moment hit that I realized, I was like, well, we're cooked if I don't get a job. I went and got a job. My family comes first, and anybody who has watched my stream for more than maybe 30 or 45 minutes knows that. I still want to be a full-time content creator in the grand scheme of things. The competitive stuff is a short-term goal of mine. And if I fail, I fail. A lot of people think that I'm so delusional that I think that I have no chance of failure. I have a very high chance of failure, but I'm willing to fail. I don't care. Failure is part of how you learn and grow in your life. If you consistently stay inside your comfort zone, you will never grow. I'm willing to push myself outside of it and fail in the worst case scenario. All right, let's talk about the accusations of me grooming my wife. Wild that people think that is actually a thing that happened. On May 7th, 2019, I posted a video about pleasing your spouse, how to essentially take care of your spouse and love on them. It's not a sexual thing.
We might need to
I referred to my wife
one
at the time, and a lot of you assumed that I was referring to my current wife, Rachel. Many of you don't know this because I don't
have multiple wives? Gamin4Hope. All right.
talk about it a lot. I've been married one other time. She cheated.
Yeah, how did he transition into me, dude? I did not groom my wife. Let's talk about apply.
So I left. Because I don't put up with that. A lot of you assumed that I was referring to my current wife, Rachel. Many of you don't know this because I don't talk about it a lot. I've been married one other time. She cheated.
No.
So I left. Because I don't put up with that crap. That's the end of it. I was married before. Damn. That was what I was referring to in that video. But I don't have any reason to remove that.
And ever since she cheated, she brought out the dog in him.
Video because it was still some valid advice. Fast forward to now. And of course, it wasn't Rachel that I was talking about. I didn't even know Rachel then. While I don't expect you to think that I was married before or be able to figure that out, I would like to think that the collective IQ of the internet would be capable of figuring out that maybe there's a better explanation than I groomed my wife. Come on now. Seriously.
Oh, wait, what does that have to do? What does that have to do with... Wait, I'm confused. I didn't see anybody saying that. I feel like you saw one comment from some actual rage baiter that was like, yeah, whatever, you groomed your wife, and was like, oh, I gotta talk about this.
All right, now for the moment that many of you have probably clicked to be honest with you, and it's not really a reaction to Apply's video. It's my response.
Okay.
For those that don't know, I highly encourage you to go watch it. It was a great video, and don't take what he says personally at the beginning. It was for content and humor. I'm sure there was some truth and validity to what he actually felt, but it was very well put together. I thought it was a little crude, sure, a little brash, sure, but it was humor.
You needed it.
And then he did a VOD review of my Doomfist gameplay, which, you know what? I'm glad he did that, even though I'm not a Doomfist player. I'll get to that in a minute. But obviously, for those of you that watch my content, you know I'm not a Doomfist player. Those were the only games that I have on Doomfist are posted, and he reviewed the last one in there. I do want to give him some credit for that, by the way. He skipped to the last game of the 10, presuming that I would have learned the most by that.
No, I didn't. I skipped to the last one because Cowden said it was the worst game. He thinks I skipped to 10 because he got better, but I skipped to the last one because they said it was the worst game.
You know what? I'm glad he did that, even though I'm not a Doomfist player. I'll get to that in a minute. But obviously, for those of you that watch my content, you know I'm not a Doomfist player. Those were the only games that I have on Doomfist are posted, and he reviewed the last one in there. I do want to give him some credit for that, by the way. He skipped to the last game of the 10, presuming that I would have learned the most by that point, which is an accurate assumption. It was a terrible game for many reasons, but the big one we're going to get to now. I really needed to swallow a very
Are you angry T for the 13 months?
difficult pill when he pointed out that my blaming my teammates was probably my biggest, it was my biggest problem. I'm not going to skirt around it. It was my biggest problem. Not only was it my biggest problem, it is still currently my biggest problem. And it's interesting because I always tell you guys, mindset is everything. But for some reason, I allowed myself to have this blind spot for way too long. People have been, in crude ways, pointing it out in my comments for a while. You need to quit blaming your teammates and just focus on you. And it took me until today, actually. I was listening to an audiobook. You'll have to excuse the phrase, editor, please censor this. But the title is literally The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***. That book...
I thought he was about to say a slur.
...talks about the importance of taking radical responsibility for everything that happens to you in your life. And this is something that a lot of you have tried, and even Awkward has mentioned in content that I've seen.
Bro, please stop using Awkward as an example.
From him, he's very big on that. That's one of the biggest things that he talks about. Taking accountability for your gameplay or for your life in general. It doesn't matter what circumstances hit you. Of course, you can't be at fault for all of your circumstances, but you can take responsibility for how you receive them and how you respond to them. So, are some games losses that were not my fault? Sure. But that doesn't matter, is the point. I can only take responsibility for what I can control. And at the end of the day, the valid point that many people have made is
you think I'm going to have a positive impression on this guy's life?
If I can't solo carry a platinum game, or in the case of the Doomfist video, I think it was bronze and silver games, I'm nowhere near OWCS, which, by the way...
You don't think so? You think I have a net negative effect on this guy's life? You think so?
No, I'm not ignorant to that, but it was a good point. I justified the soft blaming of my teammates for way too long, and what I mean by that is that I didn't outright cuss them out or flame them or get angry and slam my desk like the majority of very popular content creators do across the space. This isn't just an Overwatch issue. People love rage bait these days. Because I didn't do it in a mean way, I justified it. That is on me. The way that I got into high diamond and eventually low masters on support, despite rank inflation, was that I had that self-accountability concept down to a science. There was not one mistake that I made that I didn't own and specifically call out when I made it. We're getting back to that. This was something I first heard from Awkward when I was watching his one-trick Baptiste unranked to GM when I was learning Baptiste myself. I am fully owning and apologizing for my piss-poor attitude when it comes to my teammates and not accepting responsibility for my own mistakes, and only that, because anything else is a waste of time, and I don't have a lot of it, and I gotta get a grip. Let's talk about the goal calibration here. Obviously, Apply kind of had a goofy interpretation of the iconography that I used for the timeline. I had a really good laugh at that because the way he explained it, if that's how I really thought, yeah, it's very backwards.
I mean, that's what you wrote. So in the roadmap, he's going to get money. Well, he's going to get signed. Oh, and no, he hits Masters, gets signed, makes money, wins a championship, and then hits GM. So we're going to win a championship, and then we're going to hit GM. All right. That's a good fucking plan.
I'm going to read them off because I'll forget, but it was hit Masters, join a scrim team, build financial stability with my job, participate in tournaments with my team, hit top 25 tanks NA, and push for the OWCS. While these goals are not actually bad, nor do I think the order of them is awful, I do think there's some real criticism that I need to accept and adapt to a little bit and share the kind of clearer plan that's in my head. Additionally, I'm going to keep it specific to Overwatch and leave my personal life out of it because too many of you are not mature enough to.
I think he should keep his personal life out of everything, to be honest. I think he used like the I have a wife and kids thing as a big like content thing, but I don't know, I'm a firm believer that content creators should keep their personal life as far away as online as possible. Like, you guys know a little bit about my life, but I don't really talk too much about it.
This new concept is to join
Especially kids.
Scrim team simultaneously
Especially
while
kids.
pushing towards masters. That's going to take me a while. I'm cool with that. I don't have a lot of time to game because my family is my priority. And
I got 8 kids.
content's right behind it. Competing is my third priority in the context of what I'm talking about right now. Then after I hit masters, the goal is then, big surprise, to hit grandmasters and then eventually push for the top 25 tanks NA. I do understand that just being in, I believe it's Masters 1, puts you in the top 500 tanks in NA. But I don't want to settle for that. I want to push for the very best I can go for. And then I want to compete in the OWCS, regardless of where I place. If I don't place in the top 50
You can do
teams,
it.
I still completed the goal of doing something that people told me that I couldn't do, so that I can prove to you, that people
Masters
watching
is
on the
top
other side
500.
of this, the audience, people who actually like my content, you can do anything you set your mind to. Screw people. All of this video and all of the BS and drama we've all had to endure for the last little while could have been avoided if I had been a little bit better, number one, at communicating. That's the big one. Number two, if the community that posted and shared these content pieces had actually bothered to do just a little bit of research, they would have known that it wasn't
If
true. and it
Cowden
would have
didn't
stopped
send that message, you're Oppenheimer, Cowden. Everything you've done, everything Cowden, like everything that he's done has led up to this moment right here. Like literally, like you're fucked up, bro. You are so fucked up. Where is it? Right here. Can you please VOD review Gaming4Hope Doom? I'll pay the 100K. That you started all of this. You've stemmed all the bullying. 2 videos, 100,000 views, all because of this message right here.
there. And at the third failsafe, those of you in the community that bought into what you saw, didn't share it, but bought into it silently without researching, you got to take some responsibility too. I want to be clear. You don't have to agree with anything I say. I know that there's some hatred towards my political views, my religious views, and that's fine. You are welcome to hate my views. I may not like yours either. We should still be able to exist together kindly. I don't think that's too much to ask. And if it is, it says more about you than it does about me. I also want to encourage you to do something that most people don't do these days. Reach out to people that you're like, you know, I've done my research. I can't want to hate on someone that they don't understand. It's more or less what it boiled down to.
Oh, child, that was